As is to be expected with anything Marvel nowadays, Daredevil Born Again has been just a bit divisive. There seems to be 3 distinct camps. Those who think it's a return to form for the MCU and heralding a possible new golden age. A second group which believes that it's just another circling turd in the ever-flushing toilet. And the last and largest of these factions which don't even give a damn enough to bother watching it, choosing to sit out till the end. Truth be told, I am still not 100% as to which of these classifications I fall into. If you watched my first video, you probably recall that I essentially said that this wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but still represents a severe step back from the old Netflix series. But that being said, I have yet to completely write it off in hopes of improvement. So let's dive in and see which direction it's gone. The episode opens up with Matt collecting Hector's belongings from possibly the least empathetic coroner of all time.
Single kill shot at extreme close range and no one found the casing.
Hey, it's not on the body, it's not my problem.
Not really sure why this falls on Matt as he's not family, but whatever. Speaking of Hector's family, his niece Angela shows up and basically blames Matt for the shooting.
He's right.
You got him out of jail? A lot of good that did him, huh?
As if the criminals Hector helped put behind bars weren't just gonna kill him in prison anyway.
They killed him, didn't they? It's the police.
We don't know that, Angela.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
I hate them, Mr. Murdoch.
Yay, more anti-cop sentiment. In some random-ass nightclub, Fisk's aide Daniel is partying with BB, who has possibly the most unrealistic outlook on adulting I've ever heard.
Any normal job, we would take a few more shots, hit up that spot on 23rd.
Huh?
Sleep on the train, take a shower, go to work, and do it all over again.
You know, it's amazing. You are 100% wrong.
And we wonder why the workforce's skills are slowly diminishing.
No fucking idea.
Also, this seems like a really bad idea since BB runs the viral video equivalent of a rag tabloid. So as any intelligent individual who loves his job does, Daniel immediately starts spewing insider info.
Dope recycling ideas, you know?
No recycling, that could be cool.
Loser! You're a loser!
Remember how in the last video I said I would have preferred to see some of the couples counseling? Well, I take that shit back because this was painful to watch. The entire scene boils down to, you went away for a while, so I started choking down a dude's cock because he could draw.
His hands drew beautiful sketches, I mean, just...
Can we not?
And also, you remind me of my father.
Did that trigger something for you, Vanessa?
My father.
Downtown, Matt meets with another potential client who isn't exactly happy to see him for some reason.
Hey, look at this. I get the friggin' blind dude.
Okay, I'm sorry, but at this point there is zero chance that anyone in this city hasn't heard of Matt. He is a blind defense attorney who takes on and wins nearly impossible cases, most recently a highly publicized trial involving a dead cop and a vigilante. Either way, I'm sure this guy must have some serious crime being levied against him. What is it that he's being accused of?
Complaint against you alleges you stole approximately 5 boxes of fiddle-faddle from a bodega.
Are you fucking for real right now? We've gone from murder trials to shoplifting? Okay, I'll bite. What's this guy's potential defense for this?
I paid for that shit last week.
Unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that.
Could it have been a scroll?
What? No, fuck this. I don't care. I'm not doing it. We're skipping this dumbass storyline.
Where's the fun in that?
I'll sum it up in 2 sentences. This dude is 100% guilty and he knows it. But somehow by the grace of God, Matt gets him a mere 10 days despite a giant rap sheet. Instead of being grateful, Sir Steals-A-Lot complains that he only stole because he lost his benefits the last time he was locked up.
Stop breaking the law, asshole! I missed my SSI appointment and they cut my benefits. Start eating throwaway crap from supermarket dumpsters.
Apparently this motherfucker has never heard of a soup kitchen. After dealing with that stupid shit, he runs into Officer Powell. The two of them have a spirited discussion about a litany of things, including the fight that they had, Hector's murder, and Powell's family tree.
You can't see this badge, counselor, because you're fucking blind, but my grandfather wore this badge.
So?
My father wore this badge, my brother wears this badge, 4 of my fucking cousins wear this badge.
Who cares?
What?
Who cares?
Out in the Red Hook Park, along with his cabinet, Cuck Fisk lays out his ambitious plan to bring industry back to the city. And we are shown exactly why the government is ineffective.
If I say Red Hook, what words come to mind?
Raves?
Decrepit?
I'm talking about a complete structural overhaul. Total transformation.
You can't just decide something and then speak it into existence.
And why is that, Sheila?
This is city government.
Daniel shows Sheila that BB has done exactly the thing that everyone knows she does, as Fisk is treated to a horrible rendition of We Built This City by a local elementary school.
We built this city on rock
But seeing as how he's a very busy adult with many important things to do, Wilson doesn't even get a chance to react to any of the bad news before he's sent to the Latvian Heritage Center to take in yet another shitty version of We Built This City.
She builds a rock and roll. What the fuck is that?
All of this causes Cuck Fisk to have a mental breakdown, and he takes it out on his staff until Daniel comes forward and admits that he was the one who leaked the info.
Look, I had a lot to drink. Tequila, and in the spirit of total honesty, there was some ketamine.
Tequila and ketamine? My kind of guy. Daniel begins to apologize profusely and assures Cuck Fisk that he is loyal despite the mistake. This causes Wilson to reevaluate firing him for some fucking reason, as he appreciates the honesty. But not before promising Daniel that if he ever makes a mistake like this again, it will be his last. Matt goes to the scene of Hector's murder and through the magical method of pure bullshit finds the missing shell casing. Taking it to a warehouse in the middle of nowhere, he comes across Frank Castle, who has apparently been hiding out here and drinking himself into a stupor.
Hey, Ben, good?
Peachy.
Clyde and mine were shot, Frank. Guess whose logo I found?
Bunch of bullshit fanboys, huh?
They go back and forth for a while until Punisher hits a nerve.
You come at me with that horseshit about saving lives. How about that friend of yours? You save his life.
It's not about him.
Then say his name.
It's not about him.
Ah, for Christ's sake, say his name! Say his name!
Here the conversation takes a hard turn into emotional territory as Matt reveals he's extremely guilty over having left Bullseye's fate in the hands of the justice system.
He gets to breathe the same air that you breathe. You feel good about that? He got life! How about old Foggy? He got life.
Back at the Cuck Castle, Wilson talks to Vanessa about how he was raised.
When I was a boy, I learned by watching my father.
And then explains how she's a better woman since cheating on him.
I'm not the same woman I was when you left.
No, you aren't, are you? You are something even more extraordinary.
Man, Adam must have some next level dick.
Look at the size of my dick.
As the episode comes to a close, we see Matt go to a hidden room somewhere near his apartment where he stores his Daredevil gear, with the implication he's finally going to do the fucking thing we want to see in this show. At the same time, we are shown a secret prison where Fisk goes to have dinner in front of an imprisoned Adam, showing that maybe Fisk isn't as accepting as he let on. The following message has been paid for by someone trying to stir up some cultural war shit. Do you want to celebrate a historically European holiday but lack the cultural identity to make any sense of it? Well, we here at the Disney Corporation would like to remind you that those people likely stole the holiday anyway. No matter the origin, we can with 100% impunity guarantee that Whitey didn't come up with the idea. What's our source? Well, you'll just have to trust me, bro. So go ahead, get out there and get blitz drunk while wearing a goofy green wig and make a mockery of whatever you want, because remember, it's only racist when white people do it. Well, that last episode was extremely fucking random. You can clearly tell that this was the point where the rewrite started, as it's almost like nothing pertained to anything. Hopefully that gets corrected. Episode 5 opens with tons of Irish imagery because it's St. Patrick's Day. The word assemblers really make sure to beat you over the head with this the entire time. We join Matt trying to secure a nondescript loan for an unspecified purpose, but this really just comes off as an excuse to have him in a bank for this episode. He's supposed to meet with the bank president because I guess it's that important, but the president isn't there.
Well, Danny kind of forgot about.
So instead of him, Matt will just have to settle for the vice president. And who might that be?
I'm Yusuf Khan.
Motherfucker, Kamala Khan's father? It's bad enough this is clearly product placement for New York Mutual, but I just can't escape this goddamn family.
Jersey City. Well, it certainly has its own special charm. I prefer it to Hoboken.
Do you think so? That's the nicest thing I've heard anyone say about Jersey City.
Being a person whose family originates from there, I can confirm this. By the way, Yosef acknowledges that he's aware of Matt's blindness, but I'm not so sure.
Not wearing green today, Mr. Murdoch. Candy. This is her.
I mean, seriously, what's with you people? I'm blind!
Unfortunately for the law firm, the bank is unwilling to offer a loan due to the practice's tendency to take on risky cases with little upside.
Have you ever needed a defense attorney?
Me? No.
As Matt leaves, the bank is held up in broad fucking daylight by Irish gangsters led by Declan. Remember Declan from the Red Hook truck jacking?
No.
Why Irish gangsters? Because St. Patrick's Day. Matt hears the heist from the distance.
Person call 911.
Yeah, but she has no idea where to tell them to go or for what. All I can imagine is that she calls 911, they ask her what the emergency is, her not being able to answer, and getting a citation for false reporting. Returning to the bank, Matt is taken hostage along with the other customers and thinks that this is the ideal time to talk litigation.
Kill anyone and your armed robbery charge converts to a felony murder. And you're looking at 25 to life.
Joseph is taken to open the vault, which he is unable to do, and the police arrive in record time. This is when we're introduced to hostage negotiator Detective Angie Kim, who seems to think it's a good idea to taunt Declan.
Only way this ends is with you in handcuffs or a body bag.
Declan requests 3 armored personnel carriers and agrees to send out 2 hostages as a sign of good faith, selecting Matt and a woman who refuses to go without her husband.
Honey, go. My husband? Please,
Matt offers his spot to the husband, telling Declan that he doesn't need sympathy simply because he's blind, which is followed up by a great line I wish I had written.
Do I strike you as some sanctimonious twat trying to do right by the visually impaired? Do I?
After the back and forth, Declan decides to keep Matt mostly out of comedic value. They let the 2 hostages go.
You're a sick bastard.
You know, considering they've done their damnedest to remove every ounce of sexiness from Disney, you'd think someone would have told this chick to put on a bra, but hey, I ain't complaining. Matt has a conversation with some random dude who says there's no money in the vault, but he does have some personal items.
I got my grandmother's ring in there, some other heirlooms.
And Matt uses this as a chance to get further into the bank under the guise of a trip to the bathroom. While this all happens, Khan buys time with an out-of-place history lesson.
This vault here was built first.
What are you, the bank historian?
Matt disarms the red-hooded robber and saves Khan before cracking open the safe to reveal hundreds of safe deposit boxes. Back upstairs, Declan is informed that they can't get the APCs for at least another hour because the roads are shut down for, you guessed it, the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Which didn't seem to be an issue when the police got there in the first fucking place. Declan decides to go full Joker and gives Kim 3 minutes to tell him a joke. If he laughs, he will give them 3 additional minutes. Honestly, this might be the first new character this season I actually like, which means he probably won't ever appear again. Kim tells the worst joke I've ever heard.
Blimey, he says.
I just fucked a penguin.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Stop laughing. It's not funny.
You have exactly 10 minutes before I shoot the first hostage.
Matt and Khan locate the safe deposit box that the robbers were targeting. By the way, the other guards must think that Matt's taking the biggest shit ever, which has a massive diamond that Matt uses as a distraction while the police close in. SWAT busts in and a shootout ensues. Declan changes into a police uniform to escape while passing off the diamond to a hostage who was in on the heist. Matt dons the red mask he took from the robber earlier and catches up to Declan, who actually puts up a pretty decent fight before having his knee absolutely destroyed. Fuck. I felt that. Back at the bank, we see the hostage with the diamond, as it turns out that she was handed off a goddamn Werther's original. Which means Declan couldn't feel the weight difference between a 20-carat precious stone and a piece of candy. The episode closes with Joseph telling Matt that they still can't give him a loan, but does offer an invite to dinner to discuss ways to make the law firm more profitable. Matt grabs a caramel from the candy dish and leaves, but not before switching the diamond in its place, as Joseph looks on in bewilderment and the episode fades to black. Are you sick of your countless hours of lurking on former classmates' social media accounts only yielding results for the happily married and visually repulsive? Looking for a way to find those hidden gems that may have escaped you in the past? Well, now you can with Late Bloomers, the only AI-based search engine specifically designed to find post-graduation glow-ups with low enough self-esteem to still accept random messages. So enter your high school name and years attended, and our algorithm will comb through old yearbook photos to find a list of potential suckers, matches that will be willing to give your peaked in high school ass the time of day. So visit Late Bloomers and give that former brace face with pigtails or fat asthmatic with glasses the second chance that you don't deserve today. You know, I think I'm starting to see what's wrong with this show, but let's just see if the trend continues before I make a point of it. The episode opens up with a construction worker finding a dead body among rubble. The cadaver's eyes have been removed and replaced with terrible CGI, the worst possible fate. We cut to Matt praying over Foggy's prayer card while remembering the events from the previous episodes as Heather arrives.
You pray? Still?
Yeah, I've stopped a few times over the years, but...
Telling him her next book idea, she wants to write about vigilantes and the psychological effects of the mask. Interested in interviewing either Punisher or Daredevil, which I'm sure won't cause any complications. Meanwhile, Cuckfist has an unexpected guest in his office.
You need to give Victor the 1.8, and I'll give you until the end of the week.
You can shove that 1.8 up your ass.
Make it 2.8.
But before he can even process any of that shit, he is visited by a sanitation worker who has some really bad news about the murals we've seen cropping up around the city.
The murals made out of human blood.
Back at the law offices of Murdoch and McDuffie, Angela Ayala pays a visit to Matt to tell him that she believes Hector was onto something involving dozens of missing person cases that have barely been mentioned up to this point in the show. So little, in fact, that I didn't even include it in either script up to this point. Angela wants Matt to do something about it, and of course, because this is the MCU, she's a sassy, wise beyond her years straight-A student who acts like a twat.
That's cool. My bad for thinking you cared.
Wait a minute! Is this bitch really coming after the dude who defended her uncle pro bono in a case no one else would touch? Seriously? Even discounting what he's already done for her family, she has no idea he's Daredevil. She basically walked up to a blind man and told him his efforts aren't enough.
You've got to do better, Senator. You've got to step up.
Anyway, Commissioner Gallo, remember him? Well, he's back and he briefs Fisk on just how insane this case with the blood murals really is.
5 unique DNA profiles for each mural, and we estimate at least 60 victims.
But Kingpin refuses to inform the people because the ensuing panic might tip off the killer that they're trying to find him. Which is a really dumb thought, because I'm sure he's aware that they wouldn't be happy with what he's doing considering, you know, laws and shit. Also, how isn't this all over the news already? We aren't talking about a couple of individuals here, we're talking about minimum 60 fucking people. That's an entire NFL team's worth of citizens that have just up and vanished, and we're meant to believe that no one has gone to the press? But let's put a bookmark in that, because Fisk has a very important funding benefit to attend with the rich shitheads who really run this city.
This project simply doesn't align with our interests, I've been told.
You may have a seat at the table right now. For a couple of years, anyway. But the people in this room still decide who gets to eat.
But you know what? Let's just go right back to that bookmark, because Fisk needs to leave the benefit because the newest painter-turned-homicidal maniac known as Muse has struck again. In order to combat the increasing paranoia, a special task force is created from all the dirty cops in the city, including our friend Powell.
This task force will have special powers and privileges.
This group is dubbed the Anti-Vigilante Task Force, which makes very little sense because they are hunting a serial killer. But they need to somehow tie it back to Fisk's campaign promises.
When you need to get the job done, it requires a little creative thinking.
Speaking of Muse, Angela decides to go investigate his hideout because she somehow knows where that is and I guess thinks that she's badass enough to go do this for some reason.
Don't rely on anyone to do what you can do for yourself.
No wonder Gary calls this the MCU. After several hours, Matt gets a call from Hector's wife about the missing Angela, which sparks him to put the suit back on. Fine-a-fucking-ly, maybe we will have an actual Daredevil show now. Also because Matt has been randomly listening to History of the New York Subway audiobooks throughout the episode, he is able to locate Angela and save her from Muse, getting there just in time before having her blood drained. Elsewhere, Fisk goes to meet with Adam.
And when I was younger, smaller, I went up against men 3 times my size. Men who knew how to use their hands. A simple tool. It can be a great equalizer.
Giving Adam an axe to fight with, the two engage in their own combat, but the axe makes very little difference as Fisk apparently kills Adam with ease despite his promise to Vanessa. At least I think he's dead. He really looks dead, but he might not be dead.
But you'd be surprised what you can live through!
Daredevil severely outclasses Muse in their respective fight, and actually strings him up by his neck before letting go to help Angela, whose heart has stopped. But this distraction proves to be all that is needed for Muse to escape as the episode fades to black. After 6 episodes, I officially have come to the conclusion that the main issue with this show is definitely the pace. This is not surprising considering the show went through a massive writing overhaul like every Disney project in recent history. If you remember the first time around, I had mentioned having gaps in the timeline and skipping key development. This trend of whacked pacing has not stopped. Up to this point, we had the first episode which contained 2 time skips and a game of catch-up for what happened in between. Then there were 2 straight episodes that condensed a full-length murder trial into what seemed like 2 days. But let's not forget that the Bullseye trial has been ongoing for over a year. This was immediately followed by episode 4, which was a bunch of side stories that seemed to go nowhere. And 5, which slowed down the pace to a crawl and placed the entire runtime in a single event that had no bearing on anything else. It's taken until episode 6 of fucking 9 to finally meet the primary antagonist and get the main plot even rolling. This should have happened way sooner. There is no excuse for us to have practically no details on Muse. Especially when 2 random women just walk up and know who he is for some reason.
Hey, are you Muse?
Portions of his story should have been layered in from the very beginning. It makes the whole thing feel like an afterthought, which I wouldn't be shocked if it was. Now we only have 1/3 of the show left to explore a narrative that's actually interesting. So is Daredevil Born Again good or bad? The answer is actually both and neither. People who are watching it can't agree on this because it has flashes of greatness that remind us of the old show, but also has some real low points that feel like a Temu knockoff. For every bit of cool action or twist in the story, there's probably 2 or more scenes that take a very tell-not-show approach. Most often with clunky dialogue from characters we barely know or care about. And for those who haven't checked it out yet, this might as well be Schrodinger's television series, betrayed by its own circumstances, creating a situation where depending on who you're listening to, it's either really good or really bad. And if that doesn't convince you that this might be one of the most bipolar TV shows of all time, I don't know what to tell you.